Hello, welcome. We're going to go on chapter 2 now. Putrefied garlic and a much-used blanket. I always think it's kind of funny that they call Chinese food that. Let's actually go to Chinese and Asian sauces. And let's turn the sound on and then
we're talking pad thai, pho, Korean barbecue.
Go to the beginning.
Hey, what's up, y'all? If you're anything like us, you eat a lot of Asian food. We're talking pad thai, pho, Korean barbecue, dim sum, sushi, everything. Which means we've seen a lot of different Asian condiments on restaurant tabletops. Let's learn you some sauce. Coming from Thailand, sort of Vietnam, the condiment with the rooster on it that you find on the table at every single pho restaurant. Sriracha! Sriracha is actually a city in Thailand where the original sauce comes from, but the one that we all use today was started in America by a Chinese-Vietnamese guy in Rosemead, California. That's 626! Most Thai restaurants don't use this version because the original version is a little bit different. Coming straight out of China, it's that red oil that's sitting on the table at the Chinese restaurant that looks like it's been there for a decade. Chili oil! You dip your food in it, dim sum, noodle soups, cooking, everything. Basically, it's just soybean oil with a bunch of hot red pepper flakes and garlic soaked inside of it. Look, it got the little grandma on it. Once again! Everything comes from China. It's that dark sweet sauce that you dip your meat in, and you use it for your Peking duck, your pho, to roast your pork. Hoisin sauce! Hoisin is found at the table of every pho restaurant and is used in a lot of cooking as well. It's basically become the Asian barbecue sauce. It's made of soybean paste, vinegar, sugar, and garlic. Coming straight from Japan! It's your favorite green paste that's always on the table at sushi restaurants. Wasabi. Wasabi is actually a plant from the mustard family. That's why its hotness is not like a chili pepper hot. It's more like a, oh, my nasal passages are open. Kind of hot. Sorry to break it to you, but the wasabi that you have at sushi restaurants is actually not real wasabi. That's just a mixture of horseradish, mustard, and food coloring. That's only because real wasabi is rare and expensive and loses its taste after 15 minutes. This has made it taste like real wasabi, but I don't even know because I've never even had real wasabi. Once again, ignorance is bliss. Arigatou gozaimasu. Coming straight from the Philippines. It's spicier and sweeter than the regular Heinz ketchup that we're all used to eating. Banana ketchup! Made up of mashed banana, sugar, vinegar, and spices. People who eat Filipino food use it a lot. Why does everything have vinegar and sugar? You can put this on hot dogs, omelets, meats, and most famously, Filipino spaghetti. Coming straight from Korea, it's often found on the table at Korean restaurants in a little squeeze bottle. Gochujang! It's made up of red chili powder, fermented soybeans, and glutinous rice. You use it for dishes such as bibimbap and to marinate stews and meats. And it's kind of funny because gochu is actually Korean slang for your pee. Get up on my gochujang! Sit down! Coming straight out of Vietnam, a lot of people call this fish sauce, but that's not the whole story. Nope, ma'am! Nope, ma'am is a dipping sauce made of fish sauce, lemon, vinegar, and sugar. Vinegar and sugar again? Come on! This stuff smells really strong. Do not spill this anywhere in your house. Ah! And for the last time, coming straight out of China, soy sauce. It's real simple. Fermented soybeans, salt, and water. Everybody loves soy sauce. I had this white friend growing up. He would come over for dinner sometimes. My mom would cook all this delicious food, and then all he would eat was rice and soy sauce. Oh my gosh, dude, this is so good. What is this flavor? Oh my god. And no, we do not get paid by any of these companies to make this video. We just love food. Get you some sauce! Let's go make something with all these sauces, man.
Alright, excellent guys. That could be a potential paper topic they could do. We could do it on Chinese sauces, Chinese spices, Chinese whatevers, anything that you think. So the Fung brothers were saying that they just love their food and sauces. Lovely. Alright, so chapter 2 talks about, it's called Putrefied Garlic on a Much-Used Blanket, which is really funny because that's what they said that Chinese food was like. Okay. So the first American diplomat that arrived in China in 1844 was Caleb Cushing, that this chapter talks about. Now, he was determined to establish diplomatic ties between the United States and China. Now, guys, we all know that this was a tense time because this was right after the Opium War, so it's not like the Chinese had a great impression of the Europeans, right? You know, the British started killing right and left when they wanted that tea for opium. So it wasn't the best time, but it came in. So he was determined to establish economic ties. He was actually funded by other people that were associated with the manifest destiny idea. Now, actually, the Americans already in China didn't really welcome him because they're kind of embarrassed. This guy has like no experience with China. He doesn't know how to interact with the Chinese noblemen, so a little bit embarrassed. But and so it went. So he actually hosted this like huge dinner for the Chinese, and it like he served bread and butter and cheese and mutton and all these foods. So if you've ever actually read a really good book actually by James Watson called McDonald's in Asia, excellent book, should get it. He talks about how in Asia people today don't really consider like meat, or actually not meat, bread as a meal, right? So like their conception of McDonald's is like it's a snack, right? It's not a real meal. Okay, that's only a real meal if it has what, guys? Rice, of course, right? Because even in Chinese, the language fan really means, which also means food, right? So it's like a really intricate part of their culture. So he hosts this kind of like dinner for the Chinese, and he serves butter and bread and cheese and these other things. So basically, there isn't that much recordings of Chinese recording of Western food. Again, they thought it was, I don't know. I don't know there, so I will not say what they thought. But for many, cheese is not a staple in many Asian culinary traditions. A lot of people are lactose intolerant, so I can only imagine how they interpreted that food. But the Chinese, in kind of thanking them, also had kind of a banquet for Cushings, and you know it probably went over the same. They brought in a lot of different type of meats, a lot of type of vegetables they've never seen before, and they kind of gave the kind of desserts in the big. And they thought it was kind of like probably a tragic collection of things. The Westerners came in like really stiff, heavy coats, and if you've ever been to Macau or Hong Kong, it's one of the most humid places on the planet, and so they asked the Westerners to take off their coat, which made them more uncomfortable, and they served them food that they don't really know these types of animals, and they thought they're eating the food in reverse because they got dessert something like in the beginning or the middle. This is really interesting, and actually it's just riddled with a lot of kind of cultural misunderstandings. So this like idea that one of Chinese main foods is dog was like pointed about, and so like this is all recorded. They recorded like what they ate, and again it was like riddled with errors, right? This is not even true. Actually, Chinese people do eat. Some Chinese people do eat dogs, but it's not like normative. It's like not like everyday food, right? All right. So basically, there are many ways that China calls itself. They call themselves, usually they call it themselves the Middle Kingdom. And they also call their country also beneath the sky, or all within four seas. So kind of interesting how they call themselves. And I want you guys to take your book, and I would like to turn to page 61. And I'd like you to eat, he says, so here are the authors kind of making a kind of an erroneous assumption about Chinese food, and here he says, he dispatches the cuisine of China in one short paragraph. Remember, this is printed, this is spread all over America, all over Europe, and this is what he says about Chinese food. Now, if you ask me what they eat, we answer, we do not eat beef, nor bread, mutton, nor milk, butter, nor cheese, but we do eat fowls and fishes, pigs and puppies, rats and rice, maize and millets, wheat and barley, pumpkins and potatoes, turnips and tomatoes, ground nuts, garlics, pears, peaches, plantains and pomelos, grapes and guavas, pineapples and pomegranates, olives and oranges, shark fins and birds' nests. But why so much curiosity to learn what they eat, while so little concern for the fact that they are hastening by millions to the world of everlasting starvation, while we hold in our hands the bread which come down from heaven, from which a man shall eat, he shall live forever, and we refuse to give it to them, and the perils of our salvation and theirs. So here you have this kind of rendition of what they eat, and how kind of like this parentalistic attitude, like, well, wow, we have bread, and so we want to give them bread, and that these starving Chinese, and it will give them salvation. So there is kind of a long kind of kind of insistence that these Chinese become Christian, right? And because they're not Christian, there's some like strange barbarianness of them, and you kind of link to food. So that's a great ending for this chapter, and I'll see you in the next chapter.